Welcome back to Amber in El Paso. Today, we're talking about the biggest movie, in my opinion, movie of the year, Spider-Man Brand New Day. This is your spoiler alert. There will be spoilers in here. We're giving our opinions. But before we continue, I just kind of want to introduce who is in this room. There are three full-on nerds, semi-nerds. We're going to get into it. I'm going to go first. So, Amber Banda, I am a local on-air personality in El Paso, Texas. Now, my level of nerdiness is not as great as the other two guests that I have. I have been following the MCU since Iron Man 1. I've seen pretty much all of the Marvel movies. I haven't seen all of like the series that they have, but I really love the Spider-Man series that have come out. My favorite Spider-Man, I also want our two guests to say it, is Tom Holland. I just love his acting, and I just feel that his relationship with Zendaya off screen makes it all the better during the movie. So I'm going to hand it over to my husband, Angel Munoz. Angel, let them know, what is your level of MCU nerdiness?
MCU, I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan since the original Iron Man in 2008. When it comes to Spider-Man, that was my guy. I read his comics when I was elementary, middle school. That was my dude. That's who I was drawing in the notebooks and on my homework. So I loved it. As far as the memory, well, you're familiar with what I can retain, but I do remember certain things, and that's Spider-Man. He's my guy.
I remember you telling me that you liked him because he kind of made people that maybe didn't have the superhero build or weren't built like a superhero possible that they could be a superhero.
I like Peter Parker because he was a nerd. He was a smart aleck. He was a New Yorker. He is, I should say, he was the embodiment of a person. Peter, most of these other characters, like, back this is back when I was reading Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Cyclops, all the X-Men, they were defined by their characters and their powers, their alter egos. While Peter Parker was Spider-Man. It's kind of, I don't know if that makes sense. Peter Parker was a person that you
Yeah.
can relate to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was more relatable. And you did read the comics. And Blake, he is our other guest here today. Blake, what is your level of nerdiness when it comes to this review?
So I keep up with a bunch of the background scenes of movies. I pay attention to what the comics mean, what they stand for, the behind the scenes of how they created. Spider-Man to me has always been a big one because the creation of him was based off of someone who is not supposed to be a superhero, a teenager in the
Yeah.
time frame was never meant to be a teenager. They're sidekicks. They've always been sidekicks.
Mm.
And Stan Lee said, I see a fly on a wall. I don't have any other superheroes. Let's do something with that. So
Is that really how he did it?
yes, he said
No way.
he came up with a Fantastic Four and one other and another hero, and they said we need another hero. Stan, give us something. He said, I don't have anything. I don't have any other powers. I don't know what to come up with. He saw a fly on the wall and said, we'll do something with that. He came up with like 8 different names, and it stuck with Spider-Man because he thought it was so weird but perfect.
Right? I can't, like, that's crazy to think that it didn't come out as Flyman. That would Mosca Man. That's not the same. So it's safe to say that the level of nerdiness, Blake, you're probably on top, followed by Angel, followed by myself. So it's three different opinions, basically two different generations. So we're going to get into it. Again, Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're going to be doing our personal opinion on it, giving a little bit of a review. I am at that age right now where my memory is shit. So, I'm going to hand it over right now to Blake because you have a young, fresh memory. And then we'll go Angel, me. We'll kind of go in that order. That way we can talk about, maybe not go from the beginning to the end of the movie, but I do want to cover a lot of the movie, a lot of the hot takes. So I'm going to start first with your initial reactions. You walked into the theater. First of all, Blake, how many times have you seen the movie?
Once so far. I'm going again Friday, and then probably another 1 or 2 times in the next week.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need the
This is,
full.
yeah. No, honestly, like, this is definitely a movie that I would want to see again just to relive it and remember it. We've seen it once. And so we're going to start first. Your initial reaction, Blake, you just finished seeing the movie. You're in the theater walking out with your popcorn empty. What are your initial reactions?
This is by far probably the best Spider-Man representation we've gotten on screen ever.
Mm.
I love the director. I love Destin Daniel Cretton, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, yeah.
He has brought this story to life. He brought Shang-Chi to life, and he brought this to life. I knew he had the capability. And I love the darker tone that we haven't seen out of a Spider-Man, because that's all he is. He's a depressed person that makes other people's lives less depressing. That's what the
Ah,
comics are about. And they finally shown that in this movie, how depressed he is, but he does not let other people be depressed. He
yeah.
won't do it. He has that teenager, like, or that young energetic life that no other hero brings. Everyone else is beaten down because they've been doing this forever. He's getting beaten down in the moment, and he's still just like who he is. I love that. We've not gotten that before. I would say this is my number one Spider-Man film by far.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, and it's funny because when he first started doing Spider-Man, he was a teenager. He's not anymore, but like you said, he has that teenager energy. And Angel, I mean, I was in the theater with you. Obviously, we watched it together, but the movie is finished. There is an end credit scene, which hopefully we'll get to later, but that just finished. What's your initial reactions, your first thoughts?
Finally, finally, the MCU has nerfed Spider-Man so bad. I mean, his powers, his abilities, and everything has been so nerfed and so downplayed because they're pushing the other characters around him, and that you finally see Spider-Man in the MCU. Hit the way his powers, his abilities, his struggles like that. That finally, Spider-Man is in the MCU.
I see. So you both have that familiarity, that connection with the comic books. I do not. I loved the movie. I had just finished seeing Long Way Home with the one before it. What's the one before? I don't want to
No,
get the name wrong.
no way home.
No Way Home, right? So I just saw it the day before. I had seen it before, but I need to refresh my memory. And I think, honestly, if I had seen them both for the first time on the same day, I probably would have preferred No Way Home just because I love all of them together. I know I'm going to get that's probably a hot take, but again, I think it's just because I don't have that connection to the comic books. Like, for example, I'm reading Harry Potter. I watched the movie afterward. I'm still actively doing that now. And so I can compare it. And it's kind of like saying, yes, finally they included certain things, they did it. So I think that's why I love the movie, probably not as much as you guys, but one of my biggest takeaways from it is the acting. And again, I love the fact that the relationship, the chemistry between Tom Holland and Tom Holland is just an amazing actor. So was it Blake, was it better than you expected? The same? Worse?
I had a lot of high hopes going into it because I've been waiting on a true to the mold Spider-Man that we could have that fit the silver screen. We have not had that. A lot of people think Tobey Maguire's fit the best. It didn't. He was too cringy and weird, not in the like fun, energetic, fun way, like nerdy. His was cringe. Andrew Garfield, one of the best actors, genuinely to play any role, but his didn't have that like youthful feel to it. His felt a little like abrasive. And then Tom feels like a young soul back to the roots of what Spider-Man should be for a silver screen representation.
Yeah.
We've never had that. Tom, like you said, is a phenomenal actor, probably one of the best actors to take on a role like this. Um, and people that say you don't need acting chops to be in a superhero movie just got it wrong. Like he has the emotion, he
Yeah.
has the physical attributes to do it. He's a gymnast. He's been like that his whole life. He's phenomenal at what he does. And I think he's really shown his depth in this one because this was a emotional tearjerker movie. If you
Yeah.
get to that point with him, you have to go with the flow of the movie, and you'll be like,
Yeah.
"Wow, he did it."
Yeah, you have to let yourself be immersed in it. And it's funny because my husband was just watching something. He was telling me that Tom Holland was a dancer, right? Andrew Garfield was a gymnast. And so, with that, it's kind of like brings its perks to both with the movie. Do you guys remember seeing that show? I forgot what it's called, but it's these famous people and Tom Holland and Zendaya were on one of these episodes and they would like dance and lip sync to these different songs. And Tom Holland did Umbrella by Rihanna, and they're saying that's when Zendaya knew he was the one. Oh my God, I rewatched it like the court. I mean, I'm a dancer. So I can appreciate the fact that that is really difficult stuff to do, especially for a guy. And you can see those movements like when he's doing his stuff in the movie. So Angel, for you, what was your reaction as far as it was better than I thought, worse than I thought, it was what I thought it was going to be?
It was way better than I thought. Because the main reason I enjoyed Far From Home was Andrew and Toby and seeing them and seeing that story and bringing them up. I was never really a big fan of Tom's Spider-Man. I'm on the opposite end. To me, it's always been Andrew. He's always been the New Yorker. He's always been the smart aleck. He's the geek. He's the nerd with the science and figuring things out on his own and building his own web shooters. Blake said it perfect with Toby. He was real cringe. I was never a big fan of
I can't get
cringe.
his meme out of my head.
It's just Spider-Man. Spider-Man's brilliant. He's a nerd. Like he's interested. To me this is how I viewed Spider-Man. He's intrigued. He wants to learn things. And Toby to me he came out like a dork. I don't know, like
Yeah.
it was not the same. There's a difference between a dork and a nerd. And
Yeah.
and to me Andrew was a nerd who kind of gained confidence as he donned the mask, which is Spider-Man. And Toby was just super cringe. The whole thing, Spider-Man 3, what was going on with that, with the crying? Like, I didn't get any of that, which
Yeah.
was real disappointing because you had Venom in the film. So when I came in and Tom Holland, Spider-Man, it's the MCU, you're excited, just like you are any Avengers movie. And when I left there, I was like, whoa, that was way better than anything I ever thought or planned. I
So
actually
Blake,
loved what they did with
yeah.
the spin.
I could tell you liked it because I mean we've been together almost 20 years and you were quiet. That's how I can tell you liked it. Like you're thinking about it, right? You leave and you like download the new personality. You're like, okay, you walk out and I am Spider-Man. Now I'm gonna save the world. So Blake,
What
I'm
does
gonna
that
ask
mean? I'm so quiet often. I'm not always a ruckus. I'm not always a party. There's
I
downtime.
I digress. Blake, that's for another podcast episode. We'll get into marriage arguments at another time. Blake, what to you was your biggest emotional moment from the movie?
Oh man, he had so many. Like seeing him change as a hero because he didn't know how to handle it, to being alone,
Mm.
to finally getting that heartwarming moment where, are we allowed to spoil? Like, is this a, we're good on the
Spoil, yes,
spoilers?
I've already given it. Spoilers, Jean Grey, Juicy Couture, Big Potatoes. Yes.
Okay, so the scene that I think just gets me, and I kind of guessed it would happen similar to this, where he is swinging with Zendaya and they get to the top of the roof and it's Jean taking over his head, and he
Mm.
finally thinks he has the one connection in the world. He's finally got it. He thinks he's got his woman back, and it gets silent. Like that drop of music right at that moment eats me up. And then the follow up conversation after she's read the note where he's fighting Hulk. He's at the worst point where he's fighting one of his friends. He's about
Yeah.
to die. He comes home to see, I don't love you. I can't love you. I'm not that person. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, and then he had to
That
swing her back. Oh,
the swing of shame. I feel like
oh.
that's what Angel feels like when he's had a hard day at work and he hasn't taken out the trash and then he gets home and I'm like, I don't love you because you didn't take out the trash. Angel, what is your biggest emotional moment from the movie?
Hitting Blake hit it. The whole
Mm,
scene
really?
with MJ on the roof and that swinging her back was hard because that's him accepting his decision. The reason he asked to everyone to forget is to keep them safe, and now he
Yeah.
realized so he doesn't have to worry about her coming to find him and anything like that. So like it's what he wanted, and now he has to deal with his decision, and that's just hard. And then
Yeah.
just swing her
Yeah.
back, just crying under that mask.
Dude.
So before I get into my biggest emotional moment, there's a question I have. First of all, I figured out, I kind of guessed that it was Jean Grey that was, or I didn't know it was Jean Grey at the time, but I figured that it was that entity that was taking over Zendaya when they landed on the roof. But my thing is, okay, Jean Grey can only at that time, could only hop 33 feet, right? So how is she following Zendaya while he's swinging? Was she, that's my question.
So I have a theory on this, and I
Okay.
don't know if it's true. So you know how she was trapped in the helicopter high above because he signed, he put the map together and said
Oh.
whatever. Somebody had to go rescue him. There was
Hmm.
somebody helping that person the jump, and then she just made it all the way to Zendaya as he's
Okay.
getting as he's getting to her apartment, and she gets to
Uh,
her.
okay. That
See,
makes
that's
sense
why I
because
have
that
to
kind of
rewatch the movie. Because she says something about the reconnection that is possible once it's there. She explains it.
Oh,
I just
did
don't
she?
remember what she said.
Oh,
But
okay.
I think so. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, we did. This is definitely something you have to watch two, three times, especially because I think you said it doesn't come out on streaming till next year, right? Or
Yeah.
November. Yeah.
Hmm.
So the biggest emotional moment for me had to be because my daughter just started. We watched it on a Sunday. My daughter was starting middle school the next day. The part where Aunt May starts talking to Jean Grey like that's her mom. I'm getting emotional now thinking about it. You know, did the words that I can't even remember the exact words that she was feeling. I just remember thinking, like, I hope my daughter doesn't lose herself in middle school. I know that middle school girls can be some of the most evil creatures on earth. And that part really just hit me personally. So that was the biggest emotional moment for me. Was just seeing Aunt May talking to her at the end. So again, this is full of spoilers. It's going to continue to be full of spoilers. So now let's get into the story discussion. I'm going to pick a good one from here because I have a list of questions. So, the big thing in this movie was Peter Parker's, like you said, Angel, Peter Parker's loneliness after everyone forgot him, not because they wanted to, but because he decided to keep them safe. Let's talk about his loneliness. It, I mean, that's a tough spot to be in. Like, if that was you in that position, I'll start with you, Blake. Like, how do you think you would handle it, like not being Spider-Man, like you, I don't know what the situation is, you had to have everyone forget you to keep them safe, like how do you think you would handle that?
To be alone like that is something I hope I don't have to experience, but I think that's tough because I'm thinking only as the Spider-Man situation. He's more hero than he is Peter. He's trying to be, but I
Well, let's talk
think
about Spider-Man. We'll do that, we'll keep it in the Spider-Man situation.
so. I think being a superhero means you're greater than yourself. That's why he lives by the phrase, with great power comes great responsibility. And it's they don't reference it a lot, but he shows the reference a lot by the way he I think that's how Tom Holland plays this well. To be sad and completely torn apart and alone, and
Mm-hmm.
still care more about the people of New York rather than himself. He keeps
Yeah,
proving it in this movie over and over and over. But the turmoil he goes through is to be alone. If you've ever been alone, you know how heartbreaking it is and how much you relate to this character more. I just
yeah,
love, I love the loneliness. I love the sadness.
yeah, it
Not
made
in
it
real
more
life,
real.
but yeah,
For him, I love that for him.
yeah. That's the Spider-Man I want. I want the depressed Parker, baby. That's all I
Yeah.
want.
Well, you get plenty of it in this movie, and it is really sad, especially because he's kind of watching Ned's stories on Instagram, living vicariously through his friends. And then he goes to that party and he sees MJ kiss someone else. Like, I even turned to my husband. I was like, can you imagine? Like, and you can't get mad at him, right? It's like she has a hall pass, but it's not her fault. So, Angel, what did you think like of Spider-Man's loneliness? Are you on the same page as Blake? Did you want to see him less lonely? Were you like, yes, you're like, oh man, I could have done without it?
Honestly, I think it was a great story arc. To me personally, that's not Spider-Man. Spider-Man's a student. Spider-Man works at the Daily Bugle. He struggles just like everyone else. He can't pay his rent. He goes through the everyday struggles we all go through, which was a big part of Peter Parker. So like to me, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, I didn't really make that connection in the MCU, but on the same token, the MCU has always been famous for telling you their story. And I believe that the way they told it and that sadness and that loneliness to just try to like because you would think if you would had superpowers, like would you even have a secret identity or that would just become your life? So here you have Peter Parker with no identity. There is no Peter Parker. It's just Spider-Man. And to see him struggle with that, and it's just like it puts into perspective that even if you were just Thor or just, Iron Man or just Batman, like, man, that would suck. And we
Yeah,
see people go through it, because there is no friends, there's no time off. Like you're not always fighting crime. So what do you do when you're not? And it shows
right?
him like, doing the laundry. I love that, you know?
Right? Well, and according to the story, the reason for that loneliness is necessary is because that's what makes him turn into a spider, right? What kind of spider is he anyway? Is he like a black widow, a tarantula, or is it just like a special spider that has no name?
He's a ball python.
He's a And I thought that the pacing of of the movie was pretty good. Did you guys think that the pacing went? I thought it was great. Like there was no like it was taking too long or it went too fast. I thought the pacing of the movie was good.
I think the pacing made sense for the story they were telling. You couldn't. It was very quick paced movie, which I enjoyed
Yeah,
because he's a quick paced character. He's quick
yeah,
witted. He moves quick. His whole attitude is quick. Yet sometimes he wants to sit back and relax, and that's what this movie was. He wanted that moment to like catch his breath,
yeah,
but he couldn't because everything was falling apart everywhere, and he
yeah,
needed something to do to get his mind off of it. And I think they did well on taking his like turmoil and turning it into like a puberty type thing, like turning it
mhm,
like an evolution. And he's showing that I think we're finally going to get a Spider-Man that the comic fans can be proud of because
yeah,
they've kind of watered him down a little bit up till now. They've not given him his full range of abilities in any movie. And
yeah.
now we're starting to see we haven't still got a Tom Holland villain yet. We still have not had a Tom Holland Spider-Man villain at all. And
Yeah,
he didn't have an actual villain this time. It was an organization, which made sense. It was a New York crime story, which we wanted. I wanted that. But I
yeah.
want a true Tom Holland Spider-Man villain movie, not an Iron Man villain, not villains from other movies. I want a Tom Holland, here comes the damage villain. That's what I want.
Yeah. So you didn't find that in this movie, right?
I saw
Not
hints of
yet.
it. I
Hints of
saw
it.
hints of it when they expressed his rage. That's what the symbiote attaches to. So when they started showing his when the spider takes over and he loses control, that's the whole storyline behind Venom. And I think that's what they were leading up to is that when the symbiote bonds with Spider-Man and Secret Wars, if they stick to the comics, they're going that's going to release and you're going to see more of that and not the dancing flaring like Spider-Man 3 you know and
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm talking about that rage and that power that goes from 0 to 1,000 because that's what Venom was Spider-Man on steroids literally
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think that's what I love about this movie. They hinted that even with the eyes and everything. So I
Mhm.
think they're gonna explore that. I think that was a lead into something that, well, let me rephrase that. I hope that's something they
Mm.
explore in the future.
Yeah. Blake, did you want to add on to that? I thought you were trying to say something.
I think I'm adding to that as well. I think that ties into what we saw at the post credit scene. I don't know if we're discussing the
Mm.
post credit scene.
We can go
I
all
think
over the place. There's no structure to this. I'm a nutcase.
so. I think the post credit scene, where do you guys get what the post credit scene was saying? I'm still kind of confused, but I kind of have an idea.
So the the post credit scene, which is at the end of the credits, because sometimes it's before the credits. So stay seated. It's the Spidey tracker, that Ned created, right? And it's tracking him, but in space.
Yes, but you know why he all of a sudden showed up in space?
Does it have to do with not Doomsday, but the one afterward?
Yes, but also he's not cast in Doomsday, but there's a
Okay,
strong suspicion he's going to be in Secret Wars,
that's the one.
which yes, which he is like a big purpose of Secret Wars. Like he's a big component. And
Mm,
because he gets the symbiote, he becomes more powerful. That's how he survives Battle World and survives all these big things. Angel, if you know what I'm talking about, Battle World's going to be like this, where all the worlds come together and collide, and they all die. I think that's what
Spoiler
happens.
alert, the guy.
we warned you.
Yeah, sorry, big spoilers.
No, it's all right.
Uh, so all these other worlds in the comics, all the worlds he brings together crash. Literally, like the worlds implode on each other, and those characters. That's how they reset the comics. Is how they do that. There's different characters that have done it, but Doom is big on it because he has the Infinity Gauntlet in the comics. He destroys them. He makes world peace, and everybody is happy. But
Mm.
obviously under a dictatorship type of thing. But in this, Battle World is like where all these the best of the best heroes and villains go. Angel can correct me if I'm missing something, but that is basically the idea of what Battle World is, and that's where they think this bleep is showing. Or here's the flip side of that: Tobey Maguire is also reported to be in Doomsday. Reported. There's no
Mm,
confirmation, but my
yeah.
guess is if he is, it's clicking in on that he's Spider-Man and he's in space on Battle World in Doomsday. And that'll be the last scene we get of Tobey Maguire.
Oh my gosh, that's interesting. So yeah, I wish that I had read the comic so I could like be looking forward to if it's going to match the comic or not. But then I didn't even see a trailer for this new Spider-Man Brand New Day. So that was kind of cool. I was seeing a review where they were talking about I had no idea really what was going to happen in this movie and I kind of liked it that way. And before we run out of time, I do want to touch on some of the other characters, especially Sadie Sink's character, Jean Grey. Again, spoiler alert. I loved her villain arc. I think that because there's a lot of times where people become villains because someone spills over their coffee cup. I love the fact that this was like a legit origin story. I'm going to ask you first, Angel, what were your thoughts on Sadie Sink's character, Jean Grey? Did you love her? Did you hate her? Did you want to see more of her? Did you think she fit the mold, especially because you've read the comics?
One was her age. I thought her age since she's so young, and Jean Grey is one of the original X-Men. So are the mutants going to be young in the MCU?
That's right.
That's what tripped me out. And then that scene where she's driving off in the bus, it looks like she's going to Xavier's school is what I got. And I'm going like, okay, so how old is Scott Summers? Scott, Cyclops.
Mm.
So are they introducing mutants as fresh? Or are they bringing them in the incursion? Like I just I'm all over the place because in the Doomsday trailer, Professor Rex and Magneto are the older guys,
Mm.
but yet Sadie Sink is so young. So I'm
Yeah.
really interested to see how they spin the mutants and introduce those into MCU.
You want clarity on the timeline. I'm with you. And Blake, what were your thoughts on Sadie Sink's character, Jean Grey?
I think they're going to start a fresh slate of mutants because I think
Mm.
for the people that grew up on the X-Men, I get how you can be like, I'm attached to this older, more familiar characters. But I think for MCU, they're starting fresh. So they need the new faces. They need a breath of fresh air. So I think we're going to start off with a younger set of heroes and see them evolve as we get through these series. I love that they included Jean Grey in the way they did. A lot of people don't like it. I love that she was included in a movie that fit the mold of her
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
didn't feel like they overused her because they didn't go too far into her backstory. They used just enough to show what was like tearing her up to make her get to where she was. They
Yeah.
didn't go, this is how she started. This is her birth. This is what happened.
Yeah.
That would have
Yeah.
taken that would have taken away from the whole Spider-Man storyline, which they tend
Yeah.
to do in these movies. They'll go too far board with the villain story arcs. This is the first time I felt like a true. She wasn't even a villain. Her anti-hero
Yeah,
arc
that's
in a
true.
movie
Yeah.
worked because they didn't over explain her. They kept her confusing enough to keep you interested, but also familiar enough to feel interested in
Yeah.
what she's doing. Because I don't know, that's just how it made sense to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So before we run out of time, I'm going to ask each of you one more question. We didn't really get to talk, and we'll probably do a part two. I wanted to really see how this was going, and I think the conversation flows well. I think this will be good for a longer segment. But aside from Jean Grey and Spider-Man, what's one other character right now that you want to mention that who you really enjoyed? I'm gonna start. It was she's not the original Black Widow, but the Russian girl, the small potatoes. These potatoes are measly. I loved the comic relief. I loved her character. Blake, who do you want to mention?
The Punisher was what I've wanted with Spider-Man. Only person we missed was Daredevil, but dadgummit, we got a
That's
freaking good
right.
Punisher. We got a
That's
freaking
right.
great Punisher. They made Savage Hulk savage. They quit making him so nerdy. And
Yes.
oh man, I just love that whole dynamic of Punisher and Spider-Man, the two world difference.
What are
And
you
they are
trying to
best
tickle him?
friends. Yeah, it's so funny. And then
Ah,
at the window, woo! That's so funny. It's so
That's
good.
right. With the mask, Angel. Who do you want to
that's
mention?
the same. That I'm with him 100%. The Punisher. If you watch the series and then they have that movie, The Last Kill, and they bring him back, the Punisher, he did it. He does a great job as the Punisher. I love the way he did it and the way he tells you you're getting soft and and his,
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish it. I love how they stayed true to that. The Savage Hulk. I love how he had a gray tint to him. I think that was an Easter egg, like an homage to what he was
Mhm.
supposed to be, because that's
Yeah.
what that looked like. Like the Hulk was exactly what he was supposed to be,
Yeah.
when no girl, no Bruce, only Hulk.
And FYI, for those of you that have not seen the Punisher series or the movie, I didn't, and I still enjoyed the movie. So I definitely think that we're going to have to schedule a part two to this and hopefully have these continue. Blake, Angel, thank you so much for being a part of this Nerd Talk today. I really enjoyed it. We're going to have to see the movie again. But honestly, for me, 10 out of 10, this movie is amazing. So make sure you go watch it. If you want to leave a comment, you want more reviews, let us know. Bye.